A quick recap of day one and day two. Day one, we started with the sustainability mindset, where we talked about the foundation for building sustainable brands. And we emphasized at day one that strategic thinking, team empowerment, and building systems that scale, scalable systems and sustainable systems, and also taking data-driven decisions are the key components to really building a sustainable school. And day two, which was yesterday, we went further to value proposition, where we discussed value proposition canvas, and we tried it out. Here's a big thumbs up to everyone who have submitted their value proposition canvas to me via email. So keep them coming. We'll review in real time and get it back to you, because here in this 2 week session, you'll be having lots of templates, toolkits to work with. And please don't leave one session. Like, if you haven't done your VPC, get it done on time, because today again you have practical worksheets to work with. And tomorrow is also coming with something very fantastic on school administration for you to work with. So welcome once again. And yeah, we have a guru in the house. So permit me to welcome the LAE of business plan, Mr. Rilwan Akeyewali of Mainstack Africa, After School Skills, Business Plan Academy. So you heard about BPA. Some students from BPA are here. I think about two or three of them. They are on this on the list of our
Nice.
participants. Yes, about two or three of them. So, and if you've heard about after school skills, and I believe we can do something together with you. Though our clients here are primary school and secondary school owners, I believe there are some skills in after school skills that a secondary school leaver can work with. Or is it compulsory they are graduates? So let's see if there are some skills that secondary school teenagers can work with, and let's see how we can collaborate with our clients, because the real thing is um, we really want education to be functional, and if it's going to be functional, we need to bring in those skills that are really helpful in real time. And yeah, if you've also heard about Mainstack Africa, a payment platform, this is the COO, as far as I'm aware, I think, the Chief Operating Officer. So thank you for joining us, Mr. Ridwan Akewale. Also, okay, sorry, I missed out KPMG, I missed out FCMB. So if I tell you that we have a fearless business strategist person in house, believe it, it is, I didn't even announce it enough, but permit me to stop here. So our focus for day three is financial intelligence for school owners. Remember in the one I said one of the main things is that there is a huge gap in terms of business knowledge of school owners. A lot of school owners can talk about education, they can talk about the curriculum, they can talk about, but the real thing is for schools to be sustainable, that is for it to really thrive, for lasting impact, for it to really, really thrive for long, the school leaders need real knowledge of finance, right? And I mentioned yesterday that every school can be profitable and sustainable regardless of the structure. Either it's a low cost school, a medium cost, or international school, whichever model you're running, it can be profitable, it can be sustainable. Just define the kind of odd market you want to target, the location, the kind of parents, students you want, the value offering, and ensure that in terms of finance, you are taking decisions that are really right. So thank you and welcome, Mr. Rirwana Kewali, as you lead us on this journey of financial intelligence for school owners. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rowan Akewale, and I'm glad to be here today. Um, so I think we thank you so much for the warm introduction to um, and I'm glad to be here. I think we'll just dive straight into it because we have a few things to cover. So, financial intelligence for school owners. So, like I said, my name is Rowan Wali. Um, like Mrs. Zainab already introduced, I'm a business strategist, financial analyst. So I have my background in a diverse sector from consulting to tech to banking. Um, I am no longer with Mainstack, by the way, but yeah. So and like you rightly said, I think we can do a lot of things together with the school owners on this platform. We have a program called After School Skills Program that is designed to equip um, young people, whether they are in secondary school. We've had a lot of people in secondary school actually in the program. The last cohort, about maybe one third of the students in this cohort that we just finished, they are secondary school students who were writing work, were writing jam. So we equip them with professional skills, communication skills, workplace skills, things that they need. The world has changed now that we can't wait for young people to be out of the university before they learn how to communicate better. Because a lot of university students now are even getting jobs right from the university. They have the right skills. So we equip them with professional skills, workplace skills, digital skills like graphic design, video editing, Facebook ads, email marketing, and so on and so forth. Um, workplace skills like how to write a professional email, how to respond to an email, how to structure your CV, how to create your LinkedIn, and so on and so forth. So we can do a lot together with school owners here to prep their students ahead to make them stand out. The objective of this session are three. The first is to build financial awareness of school owners in this class, and also to help the people in this class to make smarter money decisions, and also to enable sustainable school growth. So the issue of money and business, you can't separate them. So if you're not discussing money in your business, then probably your business is a charity. So money is very important. So, but how many times have we heard that, okay, someone is starting a business and you ask them and they say, no, I'm not really in it for the money. I'm just passionate about it. That's a good thing, right? It's good to be passionate, but you need to be in it for the money if it's a business, because that's how you become sustainable. And for a school business, especially, there are some peculiarities for a school business that makes it even more critical. The money is very important. You need to collect your money like yesterday if you're running a school business, right? Because for a lot of business, it's cash and carry. You pay, then you're given the product or the service that you want to deliver. So, but for a school business, in most cases, you deliver some of the service before you start saying, oh, yeah, come and pay, right? So that has some dynamics to it that we're going to touch on today. So why does financial intelligence, why does it matter, especially for school owners? The first is that schools are businesses too. Like I said, you need to be like very conscious of the business angle of running your school. So it's very, very important. You need to know where every boy is coming from, where they are going to. Otherwise, you realize that a lot of schools are out there, they have a standard curriculum, they are doing their best and everything, but they struggle to pay salaries. They struggle to, pay some expenses, bills, and all that. But they have a lot of students. But where is the money going to? So we're going to look at all that. The second thing is that many schools they struggle financially because they don't have financial intelligence, all right. And also lastly, the cost of financial ignorance. So if you're not financially intelligent, you pay for it. So I don't know how much everyone in this class paid to be part of this, or if they even paid anything at all. But That money that you paid, or if you're getting this for free, that money, if this was like a 200K class or a 500K class, if you pay it, it's still way cheaper than what you would have paid if you don't have financial intelligence. Some schools, maybe you're here, you might be paying that price right now without you even realizing it. There might be mismanagement right under your nose without you knowing, okay? Or you run into debts that are not necessary, all right? And stagnation, you're unable to expand your school, you're unable to grow. So these are the reasons why financial intelligence really matters. It's very important. All right, so the first, we'll be looking at three sections today. The first section is how to understand your cost structure as a sustainable school. So you need to first of all understand your costs. Cost in any business at all is very important because if you're selling bread, all right, you go to the bakery, you get the bread. Let's say you get the bread 700 naira, and then that's when you know that you sell this bread 800 naira, or even the bakery would have given you an MSRP that okay, this is the recommended pricing for the bread, you will sell it 100 naira, right? So but imagine that that same bread you're getting it for 800 naira, and you're expected to sell it for the same 800 naira. So it won't work. It's not going to work, right? Because how it doesn't make financial sense for you. Okay, it doesn't make any financial sense if you're buying something for the same amount that you're selling it. So it means that the cost structure in that kind of situation is not jiving, it's not working, it's not going to work. So that is what we mean by cost. You need to understand your cost structure. So for a school, what are the costs? What are the costs of a typical school? The first type of cost is your fixed costs. Your fixed cost. The first type of cost is your fixed cost. So fixed costs are costs that whether you sell or you do not sell, whether parents pay the school fees of their kids or they don't pay, whatever happens, whether there is I don't know, there is strike throughout the nation, whether something happens, you're going to pay that, you're going to incur that cost. You're going to incur that cost. Number one fixed cost for a school is your salaries. Salaries take up like 60 to 80% of the running cost of a school. All right. So your salaries are fixed cost. So whatever happens, if you've employed 10 teachers, all right, maybe for this session, and you employ those 10 teachers by thinking that okay, we'll have 100 students, we'll enroll 100 students this session. Let's say you end up enrolling just 20 teachers, except you outrightly fire those teachers, and you end up enrolling just 20 students, except you fire those teachers very early enough. All right, you continue to pay the salaries that you guys agreed to, even if it's just 5 students you have and you've employed 10 teachers, you continue to pay their salaries, except maybe you have some condition in place in your employment letter to them that okay, we only pay so, or you're paying them commission or something. But if it's the regular arrangement with teachers that okay, we'll pay you 70K, 80K, 100K salary per term, per month, then whether you have 20 students or you have 200 students, you need to be paying those salaries. So it's fixed. All right. Your next fixed cost is rent. The rent you're paying for your property, for the property you're using for the school. Even if you own the rent, you still charge depreciation of that. If you own the property, you still charge depreciation on that property. So let's say you rent your property 5 million naira annually that you're using for the school. Whether you enroll 100 students or you enroll 500 students, you've paid that salary already, that rent, you've paid that rent already. So, and it will be counting every day. Every day that goes, you've used 1/365 days of your 5 million naira rent. So, if you do the calculation of 1 divided by 365 days, times 5 million. Let's say it comes down to 150,000. I don't know what the calculation is. Let's say it comes down to 150,000 naira. So your rent per day is 150,000 naira. Whether students come or whether they don't come, you've expensed that rent. You are expensing that rent every day. All right. So it's a fixed cost. Another type of fixed cost, like I said, is depreciation. So if you have, if the property of the school is yours, or if you bought a school bus, every day it's depreciating, whether you use it or not. Though. If you buy a car today now and you just park it, come back to that car 1 year, in 1 year's time, you can't kick it and just start it because it's as depreciated. Every data that sun and rain is meeting it there, it's depreciating. You need to call one mechanic to come and fix something before you kick that car and it will follow you, right? Why? Because of depreciation. Same thing goes for every other thing. The benches, the chairs that you constructed for the classrooms, they are depreciating every day. So, and you need to do some bookkeeping. We'll still get back to that to factor all those things into play. You need to factor all those costs, all those fixed costs into your final cost of running the school. That's why when the time comes to replace furniture, you won't be running from pole to pole because we've already factored the cost of that furniture into your cost of running the school, into your fixed cost. All right. We've already factored that cost into your fixed cost. Okay. So depreciation of your physical assets like furnitures, like electronics, like vehicles, like your building, and so on and so forth. Licenses. So if you paid maybe a 1 year license to operate to maybe some ministry or whatever, that is also a fixed cost. If you are required to renew that license every year, you must pay it whether you have 5 students or you have 5,000 students. You must pay that license before you can operate. All right. Insurance, all those kind of costs that you have whether you have 5 students or you have 5,000 students, you have to pay them. Then there are some costs that are variable. There are some costs that are variable. The reason why we in accounting we split this kind of costs into fixed and variable and the rest of them is that you know what is important, like what you need to take care of. All right. So when you're budgeting, you know that let me take care of this because it's fixed. For example, you can't go and take care of some variable costs or costs that fluctuate when you've not even paid the rent on the property that you're going to run the school. What if you've bought all the dusters that you're going to need, all the markers that you're going to need, all the pencils that you're going to need for the term, but you've not paid your rent and your landlord kicks you out? Where will you run the school that you've bought all the pencil and everything for? Do you understand? So you need to know what's important and what should you take care of first. Variable costs like teaching materials, they are variable. All right, they are variable. Some of them are actually variable. Okay, so food, utilities. All right, if you're using maybe a hand washing um detergent in the restroom, for example, it won't be the same amount that you use in a month if you have 50 students and if you have 200 students. It won't be the same amount of hand washing, whatever, right? Because what 50 students will use will be way lesser than what 200 students will consume in a month. All right. If you are the type of school that gives students maybe lunch, okay, maybe it's a boarding school, so it's also variable. It depends on the number of students you have. All right. So and so on and other things like that. Utilities like maybe water. If you're using government water, maybe electricity. All right, and so on and so forth. So and also maybe waste disposal. The amount of waste that 100 students will generate is way lesser than the amount of waste that 500 students will generate. So your cost for utilities for that waste disposal will not be the same. Okay. Um, and the last type of cost are investment costs. They are usually one time, they're not recurrent. Or they are also called capital expenditure. So buildings, buses, renovations, and so on and so forth. Okay. So these are the three types of costs. So what is the cost structure of a sustainable school? What should you uh, take notes of? So we're looking at two key metrics that you need to take note of. The first one is your cost to income ratio. What we've talked about cost. Where is your money? Where is it going to? Like, what will you be spending money on? That's your cost. So you also need to now look at your income. Where is money coming from? Money is coming basically from school fees that your students are paying. Then there are other sources of income, like maybe when you sell books and stationaries to kids at a markup. So you get those books from publishers at a point at a price, and you add maybe a markup on it and you sell to parents. Maybe school uniforms, you get it from the vendor at this price, or you even are you're the one that procured the school uniform yourself, you gave it to a tailor and so on and so forth. Then you mark it up by 5,000 naira, by 10,000 naira, you sell it to the parents. So you now need to now look at, okay, what is my total income and what is my total operating cost? We'll do a practical example in a few short minutes to see how this works out. So knowing your cost to income ratio allows you to know that, okay, the out of all my income, this is the amount I'm spending out. All right. So the lower your cost to income ratio, the better, because it means that you're retaining a lot of your money as income that you can use for expansion of your school business, for growth, for maybe expanding your curriculum and so on and so forth. All right. The next thing that we also need to look at, that you need to be tracking every time, is your staff to students ratio, because it affects how much you pay in salary, as opposed to the number of students you have. So the recommended, I think, staff to student ratio in Nigeria, or the government, is, I think, 1 to 40, one teacher to 40 students. I don't know if it has changed. So, but you need to keep, for your own business sake, you need to keep your staff to student ratio. You don't want a crowded class. You also don't want to like have so many teachers that you now have a lot of obligations um to teachers, and you don't have enough students. So something has to give. You to maintain quality, you need to have, you know, as many teachers to as possible to be taking all those subjects. But you also need to now be very aggressive in your marketing so that you fill up those classes. All right. So it's a give and take kind of thing. So you need to also keep your costs lean without compromising quality, like I said. So you need to keep your costs low. There are some things that you might need to like cut cost on. I know of a business where they have printers, for example. All right, it's not a school business per se. So they have printers, and the CEO discovered that they were spending like 2 to 3 million naira on printing every month, buying toners, buying inks, and all that on printing alone. He just came one day and sold off all the printers and said, anybody that wants to send anything, send them digitally. Do you get? Send the whatever document you want to send, snap it, scan it, do whatever, and just send digitally. There is no any paper carrying around in the office anymore. And if it's so important that we have to print something, go and print it at the business center. Do you know that they cut their expenses on printing alone from like 2 to 3 million every month to less than 100K every month? Do you get? So there are things like that too in every business, school business is inclusive, where there may be loopholes or you're spending money that are really not necessary, and you need to like cut down those kind of costs. All right. So the last thing is also to budget. You need to budget ahead of the session, ahead of the term, ahead of the month. You need to budget that, okay, where will our money, where will they come from in this session, in this term? So let's take a term, for example. How many students do we have? 100 students. How much does each student pay? 150K. Then you multiply it and you then say, okay, from our experience, this is the percentage of students that will pay in the first month of resumption of the term. All right. So you put that into consideration and you use that to then plan your cost. You look at, okay, what are the costs that we're going to incur in that first month? Salary for the first month will incur it. Some renovations will incur it. Expenses will incur it. This and that. Then you then balance it and say, okay, will this money that is coming in, will it be take care of? Will it be able to take care of these our expenses for the first month? If the answer is yes, then fine. If the answer is no, then you need to now look at some, maybe you need to make sure that some parents, maybe some debtors, they pay before even resumption so that you get some at least windfall, some cash flow from that. You need to maybe encourage parents to pay during the holiday. Me personally, I pay my kids' school fees during the holiday of the coming term. If I don't pay everything, I'll pay at least more than 50% because I don't want anybody disturbing me for, and I want to have a clear head. And one thing I hate most is like kids getting text messages from school or something. I don't want any of that. So I pay way ahead. So by the time they are resuming the term, I'm already balancing up. So that's the way I've been doing it like for the past few years, and it's working for me. So there are a lot of parents like that too among your students that you may want to encourage them. Maybe you put an incentive that if you do this, you get something, something, or maybe you create some an award for the parents that pays earliest, and so on and so forth. You need to find a way to encourage parents to pay before you even start disturbing them. All right, because some parents have the money. I was in my school's, my kids' school like last month, and the what are they called, the proprietors, and they were complaining that some parents, it's until they send their kids away before they will pay. That some parents will even say, when you've not sent them away, we don't know that it's time for to pay now. That some parents, it's when you send them, it's that very day they will now pay. And when you now complain to the parents that, you have this money, why didn't you pay? And the parents will innocently say that, because you've not sent them home now, it's only we feel like you don't need the money yet. Sure, you see. So you need to find a way to incentivize parents to like pay early. Okay. So so you need to budget ahead. Now let's look at something, a practical way of like doing your cost structure, your cost to income ratio. Let me see if I can share my screen. It's a very simple template. Um, okay. Can you see? Okay, you can see it. Good. So you also be sent this template if you, I mean, the organizers of the program will send you. So this is what I was describing. You first of all look at your income. You can see income. These are the income sources. If you have more income sources than these, you can also put them. So let's say your tuition, um let's say we're doing this budget for the term. Let's say your tuition is the money you're expecting from tuition fees is 100 million. All right, 100 million. This tuition, you need to factor in the fact that some parents will not pay. Some parents will not pay on time. Some of them, like maybe every time you are only able to claim and collect just maybe 60 or 70% of your tuition. All right. You need to get as efficient as possible in collecting your tuition because that's the main bloodstream of your school business. Without people paying, you can't run the business. All right. You can't pay salaries. So let's say there are some levies and so on and so forth. Um, that you levy against the parents to pay, maybe developmental levies and so on and so forth. Some schools they charge that. Let's call that 2 million naira. Okay. Um, Give me a second. Mm, is it no brain? I want you to show naira. Okay. Okay. So let's call that 2 million naira. Donations, grants. Let's say you got 1 million naira for that. Other income from book sales, stationery sales, and so on and so forth. Let's say that one is 5 million naira. So all your total income is there a way I can get contributions from people? I need to I want to get like real feedback. Can you hear me? Your mic is mute.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. I was thinking of if there is a way for, but don't worry, I'll just continue. So let's say um your salary is 25 million. Okay? Your rent, let's call it 5 million. Utilities, let's call it 3 million. Teaching materials, 2 million. Maintenance, 1M. Transportation, 5M. Um, Feeding, 0. Admin costs, 1M. Other costs, let's say it's 200,000. So total operating cost in this case is 42 million. All right. So your cost to income ratio is very